Hello, sci-fi friends. It's Sonia with the Sci-fi Adventures channel with more of Chapter 13, the last chapter of my story Time Tracks. And this is part 4. And in part 3, we left off with Daniel's frustration that Candace was now being considered in their future plans. So I'm going to go ahead and get right back to the story. TC's authoritative gaze was pointedly on Daniel as he continued. I do realize that this is mighty uncomfortable in many ways, but I am again hoping, especially since Candace has expressed how truly sorry she is, that we can all find a way now, in spite of the damage done, to dig down deep, forgive, and move forward. Sophia nodded her support of TC's sentiment, and her gaze fell questioningly on Daniel as she fervently hoped he would choose to forgive, move past his anger at Candace, and fully embrace his destiny. Just as the overall tension seemed to reach an unbearable peak, Friedrich spoke up. Please, I do not mean to be rude, but I'm anxious to get going and arrange this meeting with the general. I recognize that things seem unsettled, but I do hope you will still want to be at the meeting, Daniel. But the choice, of course, is entirely yours. All I can say is that Candace really must be there as well. With the matter clearly settled for him, Friedrich's demeanor became much more businesslike as he picked up his briefcase from the ground. Sophia and TC both immediately caught Friedrich's urgency about everyone needing to move forward as soon as possible, and as Sophia was exchanging a knowing glance with TC, she let out a momentary sigh of angst, as she simply could not imagine any future for her without TC in it. As always, TC seemed to read her mind. Now don't you worry, Miss Sophia. If you ever get to really missing me, you will know where to find me. Sophia gave him a puzzled look. But how, TC? How would I ever find you or a time portal again? I plan to go back to my life now. I know I will be starting over with a new and different one, but it is where I feel I need to be. TC smiled at her affectionately. Don't you worry about that, miss. You just need to have a little faith that if you need me, you will find me. Sophia laughed out loud then at her own disbelief and doubt, especially after all of the amazing things that had happened from the very first moment she and TC had met. Smiling a bit sheepishly then at TC, Sophia was relieved to feel the last of her fears about facing a new future quickly slipping away. However, there did remain the sharp pang of separation, especially as Daniel turned fully toward her while gazing deeply into her eyes. Will you really be okay, Sophia? Having to say goodbye to Daniel yet again brought on a fresh wave of grief, but Sophia willed herself not to succumb to it. I promise, I will be okay, Daniel. I really do think I need to stay here, at least for a while. Daniel nodded reluctantly and hurriedly gave her one last quick embrace, for Friedrich, who was clearly growing impatient, was already turning to go. After one final parting glance at Sophia, Daniel followed after him. Sophia stood watching then as TC, with his hand protectively on Candace's shoulder, also followed after Friedrich. Sophia stood silently watching as Daniel and her new and now very dear friends all headed off in new directions. Swallowing back tears and, after taking a deep breath, Sophia willed herself to focus on her new future. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for now. I hope you did enjoy this 4th installment of the last chapter of Time Tracks. Thank you as always for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you for part 5 in the next video.